Tariff, as organized labor plans strike over subsidy payments. And later on the show, Nigerian Bar Association slams DSS Correctional Services over altercation over custody of Emefiele at Ikoyi Court. 6 punishment for officers involved. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. In Osun State, southwest Nigeria, some students and lecturers are on collision course with the state government over sack of rector. The leadership of Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, and students of Osun Polytechnic, IRE, have protested the sack of their rector, Tajuddin Odetayo, by Governor Ademola Adeleke. The students and ASUP leaders who stormed the gates of the institution with placards and banners kicked against his replacement by a kinsman of the governor from Ede over alleged misappropriation of funds and abuse of office. They accuse the governor of nepotism. Let's share the story with you.
As early as 7 o'clock in the morning, members of the union had converged on the campus gate, chanting solidarity songs against the action of the state government. The union described the suspension of Dr. Tajuddin Odetayo as not only unjust, but also unfortunate, coming at a time the institution is making some progress. They say the newly appointed acting rector, Mr. Alabi Adeyemi, is not the most senior chief lecturer, as stated in the edict of the institution, and alleged the governor of nepotism.
If the rector will be removed, there are procedures why he can be removed. It is not that maybe you are not taking somebody who is not qualified. Everything is not qualified in any way. If the rector is not in office, we have the deputy rector.
The person appointed is not among the first 50 chief lecturers on campus. So why the only thing that qualifies him was as an indigene of Ede.
Their action has also put on hold all academic activities, including the ongoing examination on the campus, and students are not happy.
These have stopped our exam and our academic pursuit, and it won't do well for the students. So we would like to appeal to the state government and the management to come to a decision as fast as possible.
They should settle within themselves. This shouldn't affect our academic activities at all. Whatever is going on, it should be within them.
The governor had, upon the suspension of Dr. Tajuddin Odetayo, appointed his kinsman, Mr. Alabi Adeyemi, to act as the rector of the institution. But the State Commissioner for Education says the suspension is to allow government to investigate the allegations leveled against the suspended rector.
Those people working with him, the committee there, they are the one that wrote the petition. And getting that petition, not acting on it, can turn to be another thing.
The newly appointed acting rector, Alabi Adeyemi, a few days ago, vied for the position of the deputy rector of the institution, but lost to Kehinde Aderemi by 51 to 19 votes. The suspended rector, Dr. Tajuddin Odetayo, denied all the allegations of corruption leveled against him. However, a meeting between the State Commissioner for Education and leaders of ASUP in the institution is expected to be held anytime soon, now that the union has vowed not to return to class until government rescinds its decision on the matter. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Ire, Osun State.
Julie, I don't know about the politics of selection of rectors in polytechnics, but I'm quite familiar with the one of universities and at the state university and federal universities. The governor, as a visitor of that particular institution, if it's a state university, I don't know, maybe he has the right to change the vice chancellor, but I don't know. What is happening in Repoli? What's this storm over the new rector coming from Ede or not Ede?
Well, before Governor Yetola left office, he appointed Tajuddin Odetayo as rector. About a week after Governor Jackson Adeleke took over, he fired all of those appointees that the governor made, including Odetayo. By himself, he brought him back in March. Because apparently,
he brought the Odetayo back?
Yes.
Oh, after firing him?
After firing him, shortly after he took office. Now, you brought him back in March because he saw that the man was appointed based on merits. That has nothing to do with maybe him being loyal to a party, this and that. So he brought him back. This is a man very popular on campus because of his austere nature, you know, just similar in attitude to the JAMB registrar. Now, suddenly, you brought him back in March, you now began to accuse him of corruption. So people are saying, look, no, for God's sake, you can accuse this man of anything, but certainly not corruption, because people who are familiar with him, who have worked with him, they know that he's not that kind of person. So it's like giving a dog a bad name to hang it. And you then brought someone who has only been a chief lecturer for 2 years.
Less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years. I mean, why do politicians behave like this, Ayo? Huh? Why do they behave like this when there are so many other competent people? He can't compete against his colleagues in the school. You just brought him. That's why they are alleging that, oh, this is nepotism. If you appointed 27 PAMSECs, and 7 of them are from Ede alone, Osun State has the highest number of urban centers in Nigeria. No other state comes close to Osun State in terms of the number.
We have Elisha,
Ikire, urban centers. Baba Konde's hometown. Urban center. They have more than any state. I'm the one saying it to you.
In that axis alone, that's the real axis.
Yes. So now, if Ede alone will account for 7 out of 27 PAMSECs that this man appointed, why won't people say, oh, this thing is a position? He appointed essays, about 30 of them. Again, 6 from Ede. That's why people believe that, oh, what has happened, they are just looking for a way to put their own person there. We've got to stop this kind of behavior in our country. We will never be united as a people until governors coming to office stop seeing it as the triumph of their own community or triumph of their ethnic group. You see some governors will get up, okay, this is my hometown. That's where I'm going to put the state university.
Automatically.
Whereas we've seen others who did not even look, why didn't Awolowo take University of Ife to Ekene? Why? Why didn't he take Ife? Ile-Ife is just one of the urban centers in Osun State today. They could have gone elsewhere. They could have gone to his own state. I mean, this kind of behavior is not good. Now, just accusing the man of stealing, of corruption, and all because you want to replace, and you are the one who brought him back. That's why people just got annoyed and no, come on, you can't do this now. It means that in our country, the fact that you are a man of integrity does not protect you against embarrassment by politicians. If they need your position, they will lie against you. So this is what we are seeing. Let them come out with the facts that they have. You can imagine, look at what the man the interview was saying. He said people working with him because he already knows that he cannot say the man is corrupt.
How can we insulate our institutions, as in?
I think what we should do is
this kind of politics that when they change a state governor, the governor want to bring his people, want to bring him to be a rector, to be vice chancellor, to be the registrar.
It's just good for us to allow the system to run anywhere we are. What has happened in Osun State, for those who are from Ede, it's like it is a time for us to right the wrongs of the past. We were neglected before. So now that we are there, let us take everything. But beyond that, we should not allow politics to creep into our education system. Otherwise, we are going to just bastardize it completely. We're already complaining that there are problems. And then all of these facts are being slammed in our faces now. Even the 19 BKO mentioned that the man who is rector got, isn't right? It's 4. He got 4 votes. He got 4. He scored 4.
4 votes.
He scored 4 from the assessment.
Not the story.
You know, he scored 4. And usually the board of studies should be the one to do the picking. And it's not just a matter of picking. Will do, Senate will do for VCs. The board of studies should do so. Yes. And this thing was held. Somebody scored over 50. Somebody scored 19. You scored 4. But what insider said was that the aim of the governor was to make his choice the deputy rector. But when it didn't work, then that was how he executed the plan B. But even at being a deputy rector, we must always ask the question, is he the most qualified? Because if you say this man in hierarchy in the school, the senior lecturers is number 42, and that's a long way. If he's number 4, you say, okay.
It should have been at least 5 years.
And then
as a senior lecturer.
He has less than 2 years. So this man should have gone to queue and get the requisite experience to be able to do this. For me, he has squandered his chances for life. Based on this, he has squandered it.
All right. The multiplier effects of petrol subsidy removal continues to push prices of goods and services in Nigeria beyond the reach of the common man. The Senate has urged the federal government and the 11 electricity distribution companies disclose to halt the plan for an increase in electricity tariff. The Senate noted that the poor must be allowed to breathe. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, is scheduled to embark on a nationwide strike beginning from 2nd of August. The NLC wants the federal government to reverse the removal of subsidy on petrol, which has compounded hardship of Nigerians. Let's start from this tariff thing. I think it will be taking too much from Nigerians if you remove the subsidy, you floated the naira, and then the power companies are saying that, look, they're going to increase the tariff. They're going to make life unbearable.
The timing is not right at all. I'm not saying that they shouldn't.
To make their prisons profitable.
Yes, because we've been talking about
running out of
cost-reflective tariff. They've not achieved cost-reflective tariff since. And even the World Bank has been complaining that electricity subsidies should go. We have spent hundreds of billions on these electricity companies. How do you privatize your power infrastructure and still continue to give them money?
Is it everything they tell us that we pander to Jide? Huh? This Bretton Woods institution, is it everything they tell us to do that we too will do?
Because you are claiming you don't have money. You are going to them to
go borrow money.
It's a very simple.
It's very. If you don't go to them, they won't tell you what to do.
If you are so generous, you are far more generous than me. And you are coming to me to say, Jide, I have not eaten today. And I can see evidence of your generosity. You feed other people. I'm not going to take you seriously.
And they cannot even pay back the loan you are giving him.
And Fashola, the former Minister of Works, and the former Vice President, they went abroad, they told them to their faces. That's why you already have money. You have money. You that you are doing subsidy. See how much you are spending on petrol subsidy? Why did our refineries die? It's because the alternate subsidy is there. Why would they even want to bother themselves? So it's not as if they are just recommending this to us. It's because they felt that, look, you are asking them for money and you are spending trillions of naira on electricity subsidy alone. We've not talked about this one, no. So they just feel that, look, the subsidies have to go. Now, even if they didn't tell us, we were in a very big fiscal crisis. We were nearing a fiscal collapse before the subsidy removal. Yes, because we can't even, even creditors had begun to turn us back. China turned us down over a loan. We were spending more than 93% of our income on servicing debt. And when you service debt, it's not the totality of the debt, it's just the interest element. So let's face it, we know that these guys have issues with cost reflective tariff. It's like you are selling a product at 18 naira and you spend 30 naira to produce. That had been there. And it's been suggested that we need to put so much money into that sector over a period of at least 10 years before we can achieve some level of equilibrium. But everyone knows that at this time, it's better we slow down. There are times when the Americans slow down. When it was clear that 9/11 was going to cause the death of American airlines, government had to bring in money to help them stay alive. Those airlines will have died because people were no longer flying. Why would you agree to fly when you are not sure that you will not be bombed?
Blow you up in the sky.
So these are the issues. I don't think that the Senate has done anything wrong by saying, look, come on, at this time, don't bring this. And what they are saying is, even now, let's talk about effective services. Don't just always talk about increase in tariff and the regulatory authority will simply agree to tariff. How about other issues? Give people meters. Stop estimated billing. They've been talking about it for years. They can't provide meters to all their customers. So they simply slam estimated billing at you. Whether you consume, it's just like in those days when we had NITEL, what they call access charge. I remember when in Kano, when on some occasions we didn't even use our line.
Yes, for months.
Yes, you still, the access charge, you still pay. So when you are now ready to pay your outstanding debt, you see that access charge had accumulated to the point that a good a portion of that debt is actually from access charge. So this estimated billing is similar to it. They don't want to know whether in a particular month you are disciplined, you didn't use electricity so much. They will just slam what they like.
Because the access charge is still there.
It's there.
It's also there in this one.
So they will just slam what they like at you. It's wrong. And they've told them do this. They can't provide meters. Government has even helped them by way of procuring meters. So that's in the sector that you deregulated. It's only the transmission leg that they've not privatized. But the DISCOs and GENCOs are privatized. But we still spend money on them.
And these guys are in business to make money. And if you check the balance sheet of these DISCOs and the GENCOs, you will discover that, man, the deficit is huge. Sometimes they even rely on bailouts from the federal government.
Even the government is complaining.
Some of them are on receivership.
Yes, the government is complaining. Most of them can't even stay afloat. But like BQ said, the big question is between killing us and finding a way to provide some of these services, we must begin to ask questions. Because we've seen that one of the biggest challenges to businesses in Nigeria is power. There are people you find out, welders, who are working in the midnight because that is the only time they get supply in their areas. So, and then you expect a man like that to willingly come and pay you. It's going to take a lot. And that's where the challenge is. If for any reason people are able to justify the reason to pay certain money, they will. Look at the telephone we are using now. What we feel these days is, if company A does not serve me well, I move to company B. I move to company C or company C or D. But that's not what we're getting now. Because if I do my business, I don't have to go to the filling station to buy fuel. I don't have to call a repairer to come and work on my generator. Then I know that I'm coming to pay you. But I'm still not getting what I'm supposed to get in order to be able to pay you what you want. And that's where the challenge is. They've put people on different bands. If you get supply for 18 hours, you pay at this level. You get for 14 hours, you pay at this level. But even on those bands, people are not getting it. There are days in the estate where I stay, which they've had to cut to 14 hours when we don't have light. There are days you have poor service that it cannot even power your own equipment. You still have to go and put on the generator, which I had to do this morning because it couldn't charge the inverter.
Sunday will not even look.
The current will be low.
Low. It won't even charge the inverter.
Damage. You have
so those are the issues that they should be addressing very quickly. Because if I'm going to give you my money, I must have a reason for it. Yes. And not even at this time. If a welder takes a job and can do it in 1 week, and you provide him power to do it, he will pay your money so that more can come. But a man takes money from a client, he still has to go and look for a huge generator to power his equipment in order to do that. And then you are coming at the end of the month, putting service charge, putting this charge, and saying, because he doesn't have a meter, he must, it's insensitive. Not even at this time that we're having challenges paying our way through our bills, our day-to-day existence. Petrol is one.
We are not stopping the discourse of them from increment because it will stifle that sector if they are not able to make money to reinvest. But we are talking about just the timing.
Yes, the discourse are the face of the sector because they are the ones that we interface with. You don't see the generating companies. You don't see them. They are the ones who collect money.
Distribution, the code distribution.
Yes, they are the ones who collect money on behalf of everyone. So they are the ones that we hate. They are the ones that we abuse, including energy thieves, those who bypass meter. Those who bypass meter to energy thieves. They too will open their mouths and abuse.
And connect directly.
That's what I'm saying. They bypass their prepaid meters.
Yes.
That's energy theft.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. A lot of areas in Lagos.
Yes, they are the noisiest. When it comes to criticizing these people, abusing them, people don't pay. So, but the truth is, it's a sector that needs reflating. I don't know.
A lot of help.
I don't know for how long we can go on like this because
I think over time we're used to this subsidized way of living. Fuel is subsidized, electricity is subsidized, education is subsidized. So right now that government wants to be removing the subsidy, it's becoming very problematic.
No, people are not used to feeding bottle economics. They've been used to feeding bottle economics.
They don't pay our taxes.
We are a nation that is broke. You know, we've been living a lie for so long.
For so long.
Deceiving ourselves that we are rich, we are this, we are that. Today, the facts are staring us in the face, and people don't want to agree. There are people who agreed, people praised Tinubu for removing subsidy. The moment the pains started staring them in the face, they started condemning him for removing subsidy. That's the height of hypocrisy, because you praised him for his courage and all that. At that time, what they were happy about was the fact that those people stealing us blind through subsidy, they have found a way to stop them. They've not imagined. As we speak now, this is not the terminal point.
No, it's not.
We can only pray that it's the terminal point.
That the international market,
anytime that it goes up in the international market, we will bear the consequences here. People have to realize they cannot say, okay, no more money set aside for subsidy payments, and price adjustment will happen in the international market, and you will still be blaming the government that, oh, why should they? Now look at how many they've licensed, more than 20 marketers now to be bringing in products. So if they bring in products, it is
only one has been able to.
Not that it's that lucrative.
Only one has been able to.
People want to bring in the product so that the monopoly of NNPC can go. Look at how people have suffered because it's NNPC. The airlines were begging, for example, that they should give them license at a time of scarcity because they didn't like the management of the whole thing by NNPC.
All right.
Let's even have more people bring in so that
more players.
The inefficiencies of NNPC will not show once others are involved in the whole thing.
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Still, Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. Don't touch that dial.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go. Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
Thank you for staying with us. Still Journalist Hangouts. And the Nigeria Labour Congress has finally given the federal government that ultimatum of the 2nd of August, till the 2nd of August, for them to take action, because they feel that what Nigerians are going through, what workers are going through, is unbearable, and it's their responsibility to hold government.
Well, like we've said, this is not a time to grandstand. It's a time to face the reality. Because what we can see...
You think NLC is grandstanding?
I mean, no, they can't go on strike. But I'm only saying it's not even a time to do so. It's not even a time to issue threats. It's a time to sit down and find solutions to what the issues are. Because if you go on strike, it still will not change the fact that we are damaging our economy and leaving the issues we should tackle now for the future.
The workers are saying that you should put us into consideration first. You would have put us into consideration. By the time you are removing the subsidy, you would have rolled out your palliatives or increment or whatever.
Now, when you say that, it means what we want to live out in this country is just for about 10% of the whole population. You are talking about palliatives for workers who are government workers, because you can't go to private companies and begin to tell them that they should do these palliatives. That's what we are saying. Can we do the realistic check? If you say they will begin to make Nigerians to ask questions that we are beginning to ask now. What's their percentage? What are they even contributing to the economy? What are they contributing to the economy? We've asked questions here. All of the people in the oil sector that have been producing nothing, how much are they earning a month?
They earn higher than the salary.
They are
residents.
Yeah, no, they are not. So they shouldn't let us get to the point where we have to ask those questions. Unfortunately, what has happened now is that the removal of that subsidy from petrol has opened the eyes of other sectors, including what we just discussed on electricity. Look at what has happened in the universities too. The university said, we are not increasing tuition. But if you are doing science, bring some money, let us buy chemicals, let us buy this that we need. Because that is the reality now. Everything that we do, we want to put on government. But our own money is our own money. My money is my money. The country's money is our money. That is not the way to go now. The way to go now is to sit down and ask questions. What can we do? If government had that money, do they think that the palliative will not come earlier? Look at what state governments are doing now. Some are adding 10,000 per month and all of those. For how long will that? But let's look for sustainable. Sustainable. And we've been talking about it. A lot of things must work. And those things, they start from these civil servants themselves. So they must be able to put those things in place themselves. If our refineries are not working, you and I don't work there. These same civil servants work there. If Ajaokuta, that should be providing us the bulk of the things they should be using to produce meters for this country, is not working 30-something years after, and all the money is pumped in, then we should begin to ask those civil servants and their political masters questions. So they shouldn't bring all of these threats of strike. It's not what we need. Because if you grant the country at this point in time, we are going to go more into penury. And like we said, people that we go to borrow money from to do these palliatives, they are looking at us and they are saying money flowing around, which we are not utilizing. It's a big issue.
Jide, do you think it's wrong to threaten strike? Do you think it is not the responsibility of the Nigerian Labour Congress to say, look, we had it was 500 and something naira, now it's 600 and something naira. Do you want them to sit down, to watch the government till they get to 800 naira before they fight for the rights of the masses or workers?
You see, it is the right of labor to fight for the interests of their staff. It is well within their rights to fight for the interest of their members. But it is the approach that is wrong. Ajero's approach is a very childish one. I've been around for some time. I've seen labor leaders. The greatest of them all, Sumonu.
Adams.
I was growing up, not Adams.
Not Adams.
Not even him who say that
it's close to Sumonu.
Hassan Sumonu.
Hassan Sumonu, sorry.
Who also headed labor unions in Africa. You know? Minimum wage, when they fought for minimum wage in the early 80s, he was the one who led the charge. He's still so respected today. Very effective, but he will not insult you. He won't call you wicked, unconscionable. It's like my friend just even grabs a thesaurus and he uses that thesaurus to find the words that he can use to abuse people in government. How would they comfortably sit with him at the negotiation table? There are limits to what labor does. You know how much I fought for ASU? And also the guy will go to meeting, he will just simply talk anyhow there. I didn't want to say this. I fought for ASU from the beginning to the very end, even against their colleagues, Konwa.
And
a government led by a man who had pity for you, who even stepped in at a point trying to see whether he could end that strike when he was not in government. They come up with an idea, let us create a loan scheme so they will be the first to come out and say, no, it will not work. It will not work. What is your business?
When you do not even give it an opportunity?
It's meant for students, not for lecturers. How is it your business? In this place, because in this place, we were encouraging the former speaker, Right Honorable Gbajabiamila, because he was doing his best to end the strike. Gbajabiamila even went to the point of inserting money in the budget. He got the president to agree.
Yeah, supplementary budget.
What did Osodeke do? Osodeke accused Gbajabiamila of conning ASU. How do you want them to feel? These are people who have treated you with utmost respect. Every opportunity, you abuse them. Oh, this party, and people should not vote for this party. Now, as we speak today, Nance has met the president. ASU has not met the president. Because the people who should take you before the president, you've been abusing them by talking anyhow at meetings. Even we that we supported ASU, we are embarrassed by some of those statements. That is the point that we are making. You don't have to show that you see, everyone is a hothead. I'm a hothead myself. But as a leader, leading a people, you know certain things. You don't have to say certain things. Now, if you accuse indirectly now or directly self, you call Gbajabiamila a con man. That's a man who had been fighting from the beginning. Even the resident doctors matter. Gbajabiamila had to insert money for training because it was one of their demands into the budget before they stopped their strike. Now, how will he feel if the current president of NMA, of resident doctors, calls him a con artist? So there are limits to these things. And when you are negotiating, there are things that you don't have to say. If I were ASU NLC president, for example, because I think he already sees himself as being in competition with TUC. TUC gave 2 weeks. He quickly gave 1 week. We know the game now. He doesn't want TUC to steal his thunder. So he is giving 1 week. Where were you before TUC gave their own ultimatum? Where were you when the former CBN governor flogged us with utmost suffering? No attempt was made. Which suffering can be worse than that one? When somebody had to drive all the way from here to Ogbomoso to give his mother physical cash. Which suffering can be worse than that? Were we not buying our own currency? But you didn't think it was wise to go on strike at that time. No effort was made by Ajero to go on strike. Why won't people say it's political? Why won't people see through some of what he's saying? No one is saying don't go on strike. Go on strike. But for me, I believe that saying they should reverse the decisions that they've taken, take us back to subsidy, you are wasting your time. Nobody will reverse it too. Because part of what they are saying that... that's
the ultimatum.
Nobody... He said he will no longer hold meetings with them unless they went back. But he went back to meet with them when he saw that TUC was meeting. So no one is saying don't go on strike. Strike is a natural thing for workers.
And legitimate too.
It's legitimate. We don't even go on strike here. Go to South Africa and see the headquarters of strike. So
even in France.
We should be looking at what can we do. The world is moving into electric cars. Tesla. And they are selling a lot of those cars. We should be telling our government that, because look, if we bring in a lot of those electric cars, you will save more than 80% of what normally you used to run your vehicles. 80%. Because all of the carburetor, engine parts and all that mechanics are using to corners. You don't need, maybe just your brake pad and all that. That's what. So they should be encouraging government, come up with ideas. Government, set up charge centers. If you are driving with an electric car, for example, you can do 300 kilometers without needing to charge. That means you can go to Ibadan and back.
Some can even do up to 8 hours.
So now to ensure that I'm going to Port Harcourt, for example, create those charging points. Yeah. That is where Tesla is doing very well. Okay. Setting up those, create those charge points on the way to Port Harcourt, maybe several of them. I will charge. You don't even need to wait until you exhausted your battery power. You charge. It's 45 minutes. It charges from 0 to 100. You are on your way. No emission, no costs, And it is not electricity, because I've had some ignorant people say, oh, is it a country that has not got electricity that will do? It is solar power. Those charging points, they run on solar. That's the way it should be. So we should be suggesting to our government what to do. Not be thinking of going back to the subsidy era. That's not going to happen.
All right. And finally, when the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, had a date in court on Tuesday, a fiscal of disgraceful proportion ensued. The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has slammed operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS, and officers of the Nigerian Correctional Service for their altercation in the premises of the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, Lagos, over custody of Emefiele. The NBA President Yakub called on the two agencies to take immediate disciplinary measures against the officers involved in the disgraceful conduct. Let's share the moment and reaction of some lawyers on the matter with you.
One day, their own time will come. It is this same institution that they desecrate today that they will come back to. The court is the last hope of the common man. It is Emefiele today. He may be Ugochukwu tomorrow. He may be Maxwell tomorrow. He may be Kingdom tomorrow. And even Eti Yusuf. Who knows? But it is this court that will and what the sanctity of our constitution.
He has served this nation for 9 years. Where is he going to go to? All his life is in Nigeria here. And you can imagine a situation where two federal government military apparatus are fighting themselves, manhandling the commander of the prison commission. It is a disgrace to this nation.
Judy, as a journalist, something I don't just interpret things on the face value. When things happen, a lot of people don't have enough information about it.
That's why sometimes we like to wait until a day after.
Yes.
Why are you not talking about it? Why are you not talking? They think we are biased like them.
Yes. So we have enough information to say, look, this is what transpired. But what you saw yesterday, the people just saw the Correctional Center and DSS, and people are saying, DSS, go to Sambisa Forest, go and fight Boko Haram there. Why you? So, Jide, enlighten us. What happened here? Yes.
I think that we have to condemn both the DSS and the
Correctional Center,
the men of the Correctional Services, for what happened, because it's a big shame, no doubt about it. But it also shows the rot within the security agencies. The DSS, from the information that I had, were worried that they were the ones who brought someone to court. Yet, the men of the correctional service were already on ground
in the morning,
armed, waiting to receive a man that they didn't take to court. Were they able to get wind of
judgment?
Yes, because the judge said they should hand, while he's perfecting his bail, it should be a condition, it should be handed over to the correctional service people. How did that come up? How did they envisage or know that the judge will give them custody of the man that they didn't bring to court in the first place? So it was that conduct and the fact that they came armed and all that got some people in the DSS thinking that is something funny about to happen. We may say this man may not escape, and it will eventually escape. As we speak, the first matter, Nigerians don't know that the very first matter that even took him to court against the DSS appealed. They've not been able to vacate the order of injunction that Emefiele secured against his arrest all the way back to 2022. The DSS secured that, and the DSS went to court seeking the permission of the court to
vacate that.
Arrest him. Arrest him. But he responded to the attempt to arrest by getting the court to give an order that he should not be arrested. No man should, when you don't have immunity, no man should use the court to stop his arrest. Go there, defend yourself. And that is the bigger issue, the issue of suspicion that is sponsoring terrorism. Now, of course, that is a bigger matter than
the weightier ones.
Yes, but they can't continue. People are saying, why did you not say that? But they can't continue that matter, and they can't bring him to court on account of that because they've not been able to vacate it. So, no one is saying, look, treat this person. I am against the way he treated Nigerians. He's clutching the Bible now. That is between him and his God.
And his God, though.
Many Nigerians died over the shitty Naira repainting that he came up with. But that's not even the issue. There should be no reason why two security agencies would disgrace themselves in the manner that they have done. And I agree with Femi Falana and the NBA chairman, Yakubu Mekiao, that they should punish those involved. Because I understand that even the DSS, they were ashamed after watching what transpired. Because some of our people told me that they were ashamed that this thing went, they went too far and all that. So within them, they should be able to punish those who went this far because they put all of us to shame, no matter what they are thinking. You know? Yes, they may be thinking, oh, they will finally escape and all that. It's not enough, even if you suspect that in the hands of these people, Emefiele will escape. It's not enough to go to this extent because it puts the DSS as well as the correctional service to shame. But again, the DSS, they have to come up with a fresh charge now. I know they have some cases against him that they are yet to bring to court, so they can't keep him indefinitely.
This thing kind of generated sympathy for Emefiele yesterday.
But it depends on which angle you are coming from. There were certain videos also yesterday that showed very clearly what Big Hill said, that there was a plan already to have him. About 2 or 3 of them. When you add men of the correctional service discussing with Emefiele, don't worry, just sit down, don't worry. We know they are outside, they are waiting.
Can you imagine?
So when you look, when you sit down as somebody who can do proper analysis, you will know that there is something going on. Why do they want him? Why? There is no. We've even seen people who got bail, who were in DSS custody and were released by the DSS. So nothing stops that. You don't even need to fight over him, because the bottom line is the court has ruled this man should be released based on this condition. So as we are castigating the DSS, we should also be looking at what those correctional service guys did, especially the things that went on behind the scene.
Yes, some of the conversations.
Those conversations were far from being holy and unprofessional, meaning that they have given an assurance that don't worry, we are the ones who will take you away.
Because the unusual presence of those guys suggested that something.
Yeah, something was up.
People have been in DSS custody that they released now.
Yes, now after bail. Once they get the bail and they meet the conditions, they go.
Even the DSS can even hand over.
Yes, the man to them.
From the office handed over to the correctional center.
But I mean, if we could see them on
why
camera.
The judge now
on camera.
The judge, you know that the judge now changes verdict that he should go
with the DSS.
With the DSS. He eventually changed his mind.
Really?
Yes. He eventually changed his mind that, okay, they should go with the DSS. Because maybe at a point he too realized that, no, this thing was wrong. I mean, they are the ones who brought him to court.
They brought him to court, not...
The ones who brought
him. If you are granting bail to somebody in my custody, that person should go from my custody.
Yes.
You shouldn't tell me to hand this person over to this person, and when he missed the bail, he can go. I'm the one who brought him to court. The only area where the DSS went wrong was the altercation. Otherwise, it was within their purview.
And it's not a new thing to arrest people after they have been granted bail. We see
we may say it's wrong, but it has happened. Because you can have other things you want to put up.
Would this have anything to do with the administration's outlook, as in people are already saying that this administration will not obey the rule of law with the conduct of the DSS?
Because of a single incident.
Yeah.
But I think we should look beyond that. We should look at the service itself.
You see, it was a case of distrust between the two.
Yeah.
This is something that just went overboard. They distrusted themselves. It has nothing to do with rule of law. It's a contest between the two groups. People must see what happened exactly the way it happened. I distrust these people. I do not trust that this person will not escape from their custody. I distrusted them because they came heavily harmed to court on believing that they must have had a wind of what the judge would do. Or maybe some people assured them that, don't worry. You know, so DSS distrusted them, and that's why they behave in that way. We are not saying it is right. It is wrong. But I don't think you can determine whether a government will obey rule of law or not on account of what happened. We know how many times Bola Ahmed Tinubu went to court against Obasanjo. Just anytime he feels that, okay, look, you infringed on my right, he went to court. He never took the law into his hands. He could have organized Lagosians to be rioting over the money that they Obasanjo held. But he didn't do that. But the same Obasanjo will now want us to believe that he's a Democrat. That you can seize money of a state for so long. Even when the Supreme Court told you to release it, you disobeyed the Supreme Court. And they will say, Jide, you are criticizing Obasanjo. Is it the amount that I used to criticize him? If you do something wrong, we'll criticize you. I'm not above criticism.
Yes. Dr. Oladipo, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Yes. And Bikio, thank you for always being there.
Thank you, John.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. See you tomorrow.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone, your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By using the Contour Legacy Pillow, it restores the natural alignment of the spine, helping to alleviate pain and pressure, leading to much more restful sleep. Old-fashioned leg pillows are bulky, but the anatomical design of